Have you ever been in a situation where you have a project that needs to get done? Maybe it's a school assignment, an essay, maybe it's something like studying for a big exam, and you just are having a really hard time getting started. There's so many things to do, you just don't know where to start. Well, if that sounds familiar, if this sounds like someone you know, or maybe it sounds like something you do, then this video series is going to address that very dilemma. I work with students that have this dilemma very often. They come to me and they just don't know how to get everything done. And they're pretty much overwhelmed and overloaded with school, with their social life, and maybe some of them are even employed with their work life. My name is Ruth Bomar, and I am your online academic coach. I help students use their brain to reach their own academic goals. And today I am going to start a video series based on this book called Getting Things Done for Teens: Take Control of Your Life in a Distracting World by David Allen. Now, I used David Allen's approach, getting things done, when I was working on my dissertation proposal. I was stuck. I couldn't seem to gain any traction, and my coach introduced me to David Allen's method, Getting Things Done: The Art of Stress-Free Productivity. I used it, I learned it, I used it, I implemented it, and I got my proposal turned in and ultimately my dissertation written. So I was very tickled to see when David Allen produced a book for teens. Now I'm using the principles of getting things done with my college students, with my high school students, and even with individuals in the workplace, adults in the workplace, adults like stay-at-home moms or homeschool moms. This method helps anyone get things done. So let's get started. To get things done, before we get started on this 5-step approach to getting things done, I need to lay some groundwork. So this video is going to be groundwork. There is something I need you to know about your brain. We're going to look at 2 aspects of your brain. One is your prefrontal lobe, and we're going to use an owl to personify your prefrontal lobe. The owl usually is a symbol of wisdom. Your prefrontal lobe is a part of your brain that deals with analytical thinking, planning, organizing, logic, the process of time, managing time. It's usually associated, that part of your brain is associated with logic and rational decision making and choices. So we're going to call that Mr. Owl. Now, the other part of your brain I want to talk about is your amygdala. The amygdala is a little almond-sized gland in the limbic system located in the center of the 2 hemispheres. So you have your left hemisphere, your right hemisphere, your amygdala system is in the middle, and your limbic system is in the center of your brain, and your amygdala is one of the glands in that system. Your amygdala is a big player in your emotions. Your amygdala is your first hour, as all humans, our first line of defense. It is the trigger of fight, flight, or freeze, hide. Your amygdala is designed to scan the horizon and look for patterns, look for something that is unusual, different. Your amygdala is constantly looking for a threat or or danger. And so when your amygdala sees something that's unusual, different, doesn't follow a pattern, then it's going to send an alert to your brain. And it is always on. It is on autopilot. It senses danger. It senses something that is novel and activates the brain and the body. So when that amygdala is highly activated, you're feeling stress, fear, maybe anxiety, and many times sleeplessness. So this alert continues until you do something about it. So we're going to call that part of your brain the monkey brain. So we have the monkey brain that's always on alert, always looking for something novel, a threat, a danger, something, unusual, and that's on that side. And then the other side, on the other hand, is your owl brain, which is your logic. It's methodical, it's slow, it requires time and space and energy. And your owl brain is limitless. It is and it can get better at what it does. So your owl brain improves in effectiveness and efficiency, which is really cool. And your owl brain plays a key role in learning, creating, imagining, building, developing relationships, and making things happen. So we really want to be able to hear the owl brain. We want to give the owl brain a voice in our thinking process and our decision-making process. So here's the problem. We live in an information era, an information age. We have massive digital connectivity. We're always connected. And this impacts the way we study, the way we work, the way we eat, the way we sleep, the way we communicate to one another, the way we relate to one another. It impacts the way we travel. So this massive digital connectivity is indeed impacting the way our brains think. It is changing our brains. And this massive digital connectivity, we're so immersed in it that we're many times not even aware of how connected we are to the World Wide Web. We have constant beeps, vibrations, notifications saying, pay attention to me. Look at me. We're always aware of how long was our Snapchat streak, how many Instagram followers do I have, how many likes does my picture have. There's always that alert, that look, that message, that now, that urgency, look at me now. So your amygdala wasn't designed to be always on alert. Your amygdala wasn't designed to be constantly stimulated. And when it is constantly stimulated, it can become overstimulated, which can lead to an addiction. So we're not designed to operate at a constant state of alert. And this is what happens by having that massive digital connectivity where we're connected to the internet 24/7. We're never, ever alone. We're always with our phone. We're always connected. So that's the problem. Now, the good news. Let me interrupt the bad news with some good news. Your ability to think and to manage your attention is the most powerful skill in existence. And that's what you're designed to do. No computer, no app, no technology can outstrip that powerful skill called the ability to think and the ability to manage your attention. So that's the good news. So what we want to do is we want to get the owl brain to collaborate with the monkey brain. We don't want to get rid of the monkey brain. We actually cannot get rid of the monkey brain. We need the monkey brain. The monkey brain plays a role in the effective use of our entire brain. So how do we get the monkey brain and the owl brain to collaborate in a productive manner? So before we go on to that, that's what those 5 steps are all about. You're on the right video series, so stay with me here. I need to introduce some ideas. The first idea I want to introduce is the idea of stuff. Stuff is anything that shows up in our world. Anything that shows up in our physical world, our digital world, our mental world, our emotional world. Anything that requires a decision, an action that has not yet been determined and that isn't organized yet. Stuff could be a task, a demand, an errand, a chore, a homework assignment, a responsibility, things I need to get done. Stuff can be maybe a dream, an idea, a thought. Stuff can be worry or fear, concerns. And this stuff that's coming at us all the time creates an open loop in our brain. And our brain seeks to close that loop. Our brain seeks to make sense of all of the sensory input and complete that input, complete that delivery of information. And when that stuff is not effectively dealt with, it can physically impact you negatively. It can impact you negatively physically, emotionally, mentally, and even spiritually. So the brain holds on to anything that is not incomplete and is interrupted. And it'll remind you, the monkey brain will remind you of that stuff. Remember, stuff is something that is interrupted or incomplete. The monkey brain will remind you of that stuff at the most inopportune times, like maybe when you're sitting in your history class and you're needing to focus and take lecture notes, or maybe when you're sitting in the library and you're having to read a chapter for tomorrow's exam, or maybe when you're trying to fall asleep at night and your monkey brain starts reminding you of things that need to get done, all your stuff, all your ideas, fears, or dreams. So the monkey brain has no sense of time and your brain demands closure to those loops. So this is what we're going to look at, is how to bring closure to those loops. What to do with all the stuff that is constantly coming into our world that we just constantly having to be aware of and make a decision about what to do with it. So that stuff. Now, 2 more ideas I want to introduce in this introductory video before we get started in our 5-step program to getting things done is control. Now, control doesn't mean that you control everything. That's a perfectionistic tendency, and it's not healthy. It doesn't really work. So I'm not talking about perfectionism. I'm talking about more like control, like operational control. Kind of like if a video game, you're operating the controller. You don't have control over how the game will happen. You don't have control over the environment or the challenges. The designer did that. But you have control how your player responds to the environment and the challenges. The same thing with school. You don't have control over the homework you're assigned or the assignments you get. You don't have control over that, but you do have control over how you manage those homework assignments. Let's take one more example, maybe in a sports team. You don't have control over who the coach puts on the field to play, but you have control over how conditioned you are, your body, how physically fit you are. You have control over how mentally prepared you are to get into the game, and your attitude, your response to the coach and what the coach says. So those are things you cannot control, and there are things that you cannot control, there are things that you can control. So I want you to keep that idea of operational control during our discussion in the next few videos. Now, the last idea I want to introduce in this video is perspective. Perspective means this. If you have perspective, you know where you're going and you know why you're going there. This is looking ahead. So, with perspective, then we can navigate our journey, wherever we are, whether we're transitioning from middle school to high school, from high school to college, from undergrad to graduate school, and from maybe college to employment, to the world of employment. So with perspective, if you know where you're going and you know why you're going, then that's going to help you look ahead and make reasonable, logical decisions. So to wrap up today, to recap everything today, I am going over the 5 steps to getting things done by David Allen. I can vouch for his system. I use this to finish my dissertation. I talked about the monkey brain and the owl brain today. We talked about what stuff is, what operational control is, and perspective. And the biggest thing I want you to remember today is that the biggest skill, that the most powerful skill that you can develop is the ability to think and manage your attention. So, in the next video, I am going to introduce the first step to the 5-step process of getting things done. And that first step is called capture. So be sure you tune in for the next video. It should be in about a week. This is Ruth Bomar, your online academic coach. I help you use your brain to reach your academic goals.